Hi, my name's Haley and that's Sophia. The reason we're making this video today is because a lot of people have asked me what it's like to meet Five Sauce, and I just wanted to share my experience as well as hers with you guys. It happened April 25th of 2014. I was 14, you were 14, and it was freshman year in high school. How it happened was she won a contest. Basically, she won free tickets, she won a meet and greet, and she won a signed guitar by all of them. We arrived around 7, they told us to be there at 7, so we were there, and the lady that we were supposed to call and meet up with wasn't answering her phone, and I was like, is this a joke? Are we just gonna go there and not meet them? Everyone was already in line. There was a very, very long line, and me, Sophia, and her mom just walked to the front of it to meet up with the lady, and she was like, oh yeah, we have it all set up, and I had a ticket for her mom, and we took the tickets she won, and basically we met up with a whole bunch of people in line, and they were really nice. Most of them were older than us, and I didn't really expect that, I guess. But
whatever. We look like we're 24 anyways.
I had the greatest idea to bring my album, the EP they had. That was the first ever CD they released in America. So I had the CD, and the girl in front of me had a couple Sharpies, and she's like, you want one? And she gave me a Sharpie, and basically I carried that around the entire time I met them. I carried the CD and Sharpie in my pocket. We didn't know how the whole thing was going to be set up. I thought that a couple of people would go in for a couple of minutes and then they would come out, but I didn't know that we would go in the mid-process of them meeting them, so we got to see the girls in front of us meet them. I, of course, looked at all of them. Me and Luke, locked eye contact and was oh my god! And
that was my exact facial expression too, because I didn't know she was gonna do that.
I didn't know what I was expecting, but I don't know, the first thing I thought of was wow, they're really tall. I mean, I'm 5'9", and I thought they were gonna be around my height, but definitely not. After I said that, they asked us to get something to take the picture. I was oh, okay, so I tried to get my iPad from her mom that was holding her stuff. I had one and Sophia had one. I took Sophia's iPad and not mine, and what happened was I looked at the iPad, and her lock screen at the time was Jack Bearcat. I totally said that wrong. Jack Bearcat. I look at her iPad and I'm like, oh, this isn't my iPad, this is Jack, because I was just so confused, and while I was trying to figure this all out, Michael is staring at me, and he saw the lock screen and everything. When I got my iPad, they were all obviously staring, and I tried to do the passcode and whatnot, and I was shaking so much I couldn't put the passcode in right. And the guy, their big scary bodyguard, came over, and he was like, ladies, you need to hurry up. And I just stopped everything I did and just looked at him, because I didn't really understand what he said. But then a lady came over and said, it's okay, take your time. So I did the passcode and it brought up my home screen, and Michael saw my background, and it was Fetus Thumb from 2011. But I gave the lady my iPad to take the picture, and I turn around and the order was Michael, Callum, Luke, and then Ashton. So I went to Michael first, but I remember I stopped because I was holding the CD in one hand, and I was shaking, and he was hi, and I was oh my god. I said hi back. He was how are you okay? Because I was shaking. And what did you do when I was in the middle of hugging Michael?
I went over to Callum, and I guess he was how are you? And I was
we just went down the line, and in every hug that I gave, I said, oh my god, I love you. All going really fast because I felt very rushed. And then I don't know. When I got to Luke, we kind of just like looked at each other and
fell in love and knew that someday in the future they're gonna have 10 million babies.
I thought you were gonna say
Well, duh! How do you think that you're gonna have babies? They're just gonna fucking pop up out of nowhere? You're gonna...
no.
He's going to...
contact, and I just looked at him and like I gave him a hug and like was shaking. Was like, oh my god, I love you. It was a very awkward hug, and like I just put my arms around his neck and he like put his around my waist. I just hugged him, and then he like was like, and like I don't know. It was very awkward. He started to let go, so then I took a step forward and like hugged him tighter, and that's when he like fully like put his arms around me and like put his chin on my shoulder. But when I pulled away, I had a letter that I wrote for Luke. Had the letter in my hand, and like I wouldn't look him in the eye, and I just was like, and he was like, "Is this for me?" Like I don't know if he really said anything. Sophia said he said something. What did you think he said?
I don't know, he was probably like...
Probably he said, "Is this for me?" And then I said nothing and was like, and he took it. He like his hand came out of nowhere and he like took the letter and like took it, and then I was like, okay. So then I moved on to Ashton, and I had a couple of papers for him, and like Sophia had papers and she didn't give it to them. Like she was supposed to give 2 papers, one to Michael, one to Callum, and she never did. But I had a couple of papers like with my name and such, and gave that to Ashton, and I hugged him. Like, oh, I don't know where to stand, so I kind of like stood between him and Luke and just looked at Luke the entire time. And like, what were you doing that exact moment?
Well, in that exact moment, I was like, probably hugging Michael.
Yeah, because you ran over.
Yeah.
After you hugged Ashton, you ran over to like hug Michael.
He was like, "Aww." I was like, "What?" And then, so I was like here.
Yeah, you're in between Michael and Callum.
Yeah, and then we took a picture, and Michael touched my butt. But we don't talk about that.
I was just very nervous, and like when I like looked to the side, like Luke was looking at the camera, and I don't know, I was like, oh my, like I just appreciated his side profile, and I didn't really know exactly like where to stand, and I just stood a little bit in front of him. I was very intimidated by him. I mean, like Michael and Ashton are just like so outgoing. They're like, yeah, hey, and like Callum didn't say a word. And Luke was just like kind of quiet and like really intimidating and really, really tall. That's kind of how it happened, and like during the middle of when the picture was taking, the other group behind us was walking in. Like I was getting ready to like smile for the picture, and they were like, oh, it locked. And I like took a step forward to like unlock it again, and I was like, I have to unlock it again, and they just like did the thing where you brought up the camera up, and they're like, okay, we have it all set. And I was like, okay, so I awkwardly stepped back. Kind of looked at Ashton, and he like looked at me, he was like, that's the biggest iPad I've ever seen. They all laugh. They all laugh, and like I caught like Luke's smile in one of the pictures, and like Ashton was looking at me, and I was like, oh, that's my school iPad. After the pictures were taken, I didn't say anything to any of them. I just walked forward, grabbed the iPad, and left. But instead of going out the right way, we went to the left, which was the way to go on stage. So when we walked out, we were basically like walking on the side of the stage, and like the people like working back there, like setting up the instruments and stuff, gave us like the weirdest look.
Stop. They were like,
they were like, what? And I was like, we went the wrong way. Before we walked out, the first like thing Sophia said when she thought we were leaving was, I'm gonna pee. Then her mom, so what did she say?
where you guys going? You going on stage?
So we turned around and like went to go back in to walk out. Just looked at Michael, and like Michael kind of like looked at us, and we walked back out there like smiling and kind of laughing, and it was just really funny. That's basically it.
Michael decides to get an eyebrow piercing. And, you know, that sounds really weird to me because I have a eyebrow piercing.
After we met them, he pops up with an eyebrow piercing. Alright, I think this video is over. And Ashton never followed me, Sophia, or any of the people we gave our ad names to him. He never followed any of us. So
These were
thanks,
losers.
Ashton. Still love you though. Alright.
You're a loser.